Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is ISTANTYA NINGRUM, and this time I got a section to introduce the background and the reason why this group certain the work that we present. Okay, first let me introduce our group. We are from Group 2 from Modern Literature Classic, and we choose one of the scientific journal entitled Hedonism as reflected in Hemingway'S The Snows of Kilimanjaro, who's written by Vincentia Kita Yuli Setia Ningrum. This journal from Second English Language and Literature International Conference or ELLIC Proceedings, Volume 2 and published in 2018. This research deals with the hedonism in the snows of Kilimanjaro, the short story written by Ernest Hemingway. The reason why this group chose this work because the problem of this short story are related to luxurious lifestyle and temporary happiness. In the objectives are to find the hedonism values and the influence of hedonism from the main character of the short story, which the writer wants to convey to the reader. The writer used hedonism as the main theory to analyze.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is NURFADILA PERMATASARI. I would like to explain about the strength of this journal. In this article, the researcher clearly and strongly analyzes the discussion about hedonism and materialism. This research discusses Harry and Helen as the main characters who try to do anything to achieve their happiness and consider that happiness and materiality are the goals of life. And second, the researcher in this article has a novelty in method. In this study, researchers use qualitative methods. Researchers provide perspective and study in other words and actions, such as making interpretations, descriptions, or observations. This research is in the form of character dialogue and narrative taken from a short story entitled The Snow of Kilimanjaro. Sources of data in this study: the author used primary data information in the form of dialogue or sentences used as evidence of analysis. Then, in this article, researcher uses methods and theories that can be applied well in the analysis. Researcher linked several theories such as folk hedonism and motivational hedonism to this story. Researcher also wrote several opinions, not only the opinions of philosophers, but researchers also use several opinions from non-philosophers that explain people's hedonism. From the opinions and theories of several philosophers and non-philosophers, this article discusses social phenomena in the story of the snows of Kilimanjaro properly and accurately. In the last, abstract written by researchers in this study are also very strong. Abstract in this research attracts readers to know the values of hedonism and the influence of hedonism from the main character of the story, the snows of the Kilimanjaro, that the researcher wants to convey to the reader. It can be seen clearly from the abstract written by the researcher how the influence of hedonism with bad behavior and personality on the reader, namely alcoholic traits that are part of life.
Hello, my name is ENGGAL SAPUTRO. This time I got a section on analyzing weaknesses in a scientific journal entitled Hedonism as reflected in Hemingway'S The Snows of Kilimanjaro. From the introduction, I found a typo in the sentence. Some authors sometimes don't know deliver the message of the story directly. This small mistake can lead the reader to misinterpret the sentence. From the research method section, the research discards many repeated sentences and makes the reader confused about the essence of the method used by the researcher. In the first part, the researchers mentioned the source of the data. At the end, the researchers mention again the source of research data, which my opinion is unnecessary, because it's enough to just put it at the beginning. In the finding and discussion section, according to what I have read, the contents of this section seem to deviate from the initial discussion, such as the thesis statement in the abstract and introduction section. And moreover, between quotation from experts and what was discussed was not appropriate. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is AQILLA and I would like to give suggestion to the author of this article. Okay, for the first suggestion is, I think in the abstract section should be also contained what in the finding and discussion section. So it is better if the researchers mention in detail what the article will discuss, which is about folk hedonism, motivational hedonism, and the effect of hedonism towards character's life. The second suggestion is in the finding and discussion section, point 1 is folk hedonism. It would be better if the researcher directly shows evidence of facts that contains in the short story. So there is no need to explain again about what folk hedonism is, because the explanation already in the introduction section. The next is researchers explain one by one about the 8 kinds of hedonism, but there are only 2 of them in finding and discussion section. Instead of explaining the 8 kinds of hedonism, it would be better if the researchers only focus on the 2 types of hedonism found in the short story and mentioned in findings and discussion section, which is folk hedonism and motivational hedonism. It is also a good idea for the researcher to include and discuss a little about the previous research, which also discussed Hemingway'S story, The Snows of Kilimanjaro. Then, compare this research with the previous research. Next is, based on my own point of view, it would be more interesting if the research that discuss hedonism contained in the short story The Snows of Kilimanjaro is connected with hedonism that exists today, so that the readers can compare how hedonism in the short story in modern era and in the present, which is now. Okay, finally, from the witness mentioned earlier, researchers are expected to review the articles before they are published, especially in the part that are often mistyped, and also the quotation taken and the use of sentences so as not to have a lot of unnecessary repetition. That's all the suggestion from me to the author of this article. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Hello, my name is KHALID. In this section, I will tell a conclusion based on my friend's comment before. This article is such as a good article because it has several strengths that become the advantages of this article. First, this article is presents a strong argument and has a novelty in providing a perspective to the readers. Also, this article uses a method that is well applied in the analysis, and in addition, the theories used are quite broad and take from various sources, both philosophers or non-philosophers. Besides strengths before, there are several weaknesses in the analysis of this article. There are several mistypes in the analysis that may make the reader confused when reading this article. And even though the writer wrote a brief and clear abstract and also presented various theories, the content of the analysis is deviated a little from the discussion. This weakness may be a little vital because it can make the reader less understand of the essence of this analysis. And this article is quite good at applying method and describing various kinds of theories, but there are still some things that need to be improved, such as my step and compatibility between the contents of the abstract and also the content in the analysis sections, so that the reader can understand the essence of the analysis. Thank you for watching.